What's good, everybody? It's your boy. Today, finally, I'm gonna give you guys a little educational video. Since that was the purpose of starting up this channel, was to put out information for you guys to learn something, because there's a lot of false information out there. So I'm gonna start a little series. Well, I wouldn't say a series, but a collection of videos of just putting out information there about nutrition, about training, different things like that, different myths, fitness myths, nutrition myths. It's a hard word to say, myths. But let's get right to it. And today, as you can tell by the thumbnail of the video, I'm going to be talking about lactic acid. And lactic acid gets a bad rap by a lot of people. And let me put this out first of all. Lactic acid is not the cause of muscle soreness. Let me repeat this, because this is something that goes around that a lot of people have the misconception of, is that lactic acid is what causes muscle soreness. And that is not true. Muscle soreness is caused by micro tears in the muscle, which causes swelling and edema. A lot of this information that I'm going to be giving you guys is some of my personal knowledge and things that I've learned from my, exercise physiology classes and things like that. So let's get to it. So lactic acid, let's start there. What is lactic acid? For people that don't know, you'll hear people talking and you'll hear them say, "Oh, I can feel the lactic acid burning in my muscles," and they feel really pumped or they feel tired. So that's what they associate it with, is that fatigue and the muscle soreness the next day. What lactic acid is, it's a byproduct of fatigue when there's little oxygen in the muscles. So I'll give you guys a little ex-phys background a little. So there's a process in our body called glycolysis. And what glycolysis is, way that our body produces ATP, which is energy, anaerobically. So that means without oxygen. Glycolysis produces ATP and what is called pyruvic acid. Pyruvic acid is a precursor to an intermediate which enters the Krebs cycle, which I can get into in another video about fats and things like that. But the Krebs cycle, it's for more aerobic metabolism, which is with oxygen. That's for more endurance, longer duration activity. That's where you'll mainly get your ATP from, your source of energy. But anyways, glycolysis produces pyruvic acid. And what happens is there's these things called NADs, and they're carriers for hydrogen. So what happens is at the end of the cycle, when pyruvic acid is produced along with the ATP, there's not enough oxygen in the muscle for the NODs, the NADs, to carry those hydrogens to the mitochondria to enter the Krebs cycle, or to be used in the ETC, which is the electron transport chain, which is something else. But what happens is the NADs, they're part of a system where they come back, pick up hydrogens, come back, and things like that. So they have to drop it off somewhere. So what they do is the pyruvic acid binds to the hydrogen, and they bond together and they produce lactic acid. And what happens over time, as you get more fatigued, less oxygen is present in your muscles, glycolysis is accelerated. And what happens is pyruvic acid is produced even faster, and now you don't have enough oxygen to get rid of the hydrogens, so that the hydrogens can go on to another cycle. They bind to the pyruvic acid, and you start producing lactic acid even more. Now, lactic acid has a bad rap to it. It does not cause muscle soreness, as I said. Lactic acid is a byproduct for fatigue, and actually the body uses it. Break it down, about 70% of the lactic acid that's produced is oxidized, and it's turned into a substrate that is used by the heart and the muscles, so they can actually use it for energy. 20% of lactic acid is sent into a cycle called the Cori cycle, and basically the Cori cycle is when lactic acid is sent to the liver, and in the liver it's turned into glucose via gluconeogenesis, and it's sent back to the muscles as glucose, and the muscles can use that glucose to create ATP. And then the last 10% of it is turned into amino acids. So lactic acid is actually quite useful. Yes, it's produced as kind of a fatigue resistance and kind of like fatigue buildup, but it's actually can be used and is used mainly by the muscles in our body. So no, it does not cause muscle soreness, and it's actually used. But yes, we want to have, which I can go into in another video as well if you guys want, is lactate threshold. Well, since I'm already on the topic of lactic acid, we might as well talk about lactate threshold. So lactate threshold is the point at which you go from mainly getting your energy source from aerobic metabolism, which is with the use of oxygen, and you switch to anaerobic. So here you switch because there's a low oxygen level in the muscles, as I said. So anaerobic metabolism is aerobic, it uses oxygen. So when there's low oxygen levels, it shifts, and you're primarily getting your energy from anaerobic now because there's less oxygen in the muscles to be used. And also, as I said before, glycolysis is accelerated. So it's producing more and more pyruvic acid and more ATP because you need it, because you need the energy, because the intensity of the activity you're involved in is very high. So, and also during this point, you're recruiting a lot more fast twitch muscle fibers. And because glycolysis is accelerated, as I said before, you're getting more pyruvic acid, not enough oxygen. It all connects. So there's not enough oxygen to send the hydrogens to the ETC to be used, which in turn produces more lactic acid. And also the removal of lactic acid in the body is a lot slower. It decreases, so it stays in the body a little bit longer. So basically with lactate threshold, you want to have a higher lactate threshold because you want your body to be able to handle more workload, more intensity, primarily using aerobic metabolism, and not having to focus as much on anaerobic, because chances are you won't be able to perform as well because you don't have an appropriate amount of oxygen in the muscles. So your muscles can't produce as much energy, ATP, and basically your performance suffers. So you want to have a higher lactate threshold, which again is that point where you switch from aerobic to anaerobic metabolism. And you want it to be higher so that you're fatigue resistance, basically. That's basically it, is that you don't get fatigued as quickly. So because that's why lactic acid is produced, because you're fatigued. But yeah, so that's a little bit on lactate threshold, but that's basically what I wanted to cover. I don't want to go too deep into it because then everything connects in a way, so I don't want it to keep going and then I talk about something else that I could cover in another video that you guys might be interested in. So the main key is lactic acid is not the cause of muscle soreness. Oh, and another thing, lactic acid is actually removed from the body completely 60 minutes after you work out, train, whatever, after any activity. So it's removed from the body rather quickly, in about an hour. And you actually can speed up the process of removal by doing about 30 to 40% of your VO2 max, which you might not know what that is either, but basically it's just to kind of give you an idea of what to do after working out. Just walk on the treadmill for 3 to 5 minutes, maybe on a slight incline, maybe at 3 miles per hour, and just walk for 3 to 5 minutes. Just let your body, remove everything, and that will get rid of it a lot quicker. So again, the main points: lactic acid does not cause muscle soreness. Please, if you hear somebody, slap them in the face, tell them that is not the reason why you get sore. It might be because you're lazy, you hardly go to the gym, and you go once every 2 weeks, so your body's not adapted. Your micro tears, that's the main reason, is the micro tears in the muscle. What else? But yeah, 3 to 5 minutes post exercise, very light, speeds up the process of removal. Either way, it's still gonna be removed, even if you don't do the 3 to 5 minutes, and it really doesn't hurt you in any way if you do or don't do it. It just speeds up the process. But that's all. Comment down below for anything, any suggestions, any videos that you guys want to watch, hear me talk about, anything on nutrition, on training, whatever. Because this is mainly the purpose of the channel, was to provide you and spread knowledge to you guys. And I've had a lot of vlogs, well, not as much vlog, but I've had a lot of training clips and stuff like that. So I want to actually give you guys some knowledge. So that's it from your boy. I'm tired, as you can tell. Probably my voice sucks, my explanations, but if you guys want a deeper explanation, you want me to explain something else, shoot me a DM, slide in my DM on Instagram at KJ_fitness6, or just comment down below if you have any further questions about lactic acid, and also comment down below on other videos you guys want to see. So that's it. I'm out of here. It's time to sleep. Actually, I gotta eat some cheese to finish my fat and my protein. But that's it. You already know. Like this bitch, share this bitch, and we all fit. Let's grow together. Boom.